Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tamika. This is Library of Tomes, where I talk to you about all the bookish things going on in my life. Hi, welcome back. I hope y'all are doing great. Today I am bringing you a video that I have been dying to make for months now, and I've been trying to accumulate a good list of books to recommend to you. I am finally doing my Sapphic romance book recommendations, also known as female romance book recommendations. If you all are new here, hi, hello, my name is Tamika. I love a good Sapphic romance. I just adore Sapphic romances. I adore female relationships, so I'm very excited to finally be able to give you a good list. I am so excited. I did include one manga series in here and the other 4 are books. I just want all of the female romance recommendations ever. I want them all. I want everyone to write them. So I obviously want to start talking more and recommending more female romances as I find them. So here's my part 1, because I know that I'm going to be reading a lot more Sapphic and I'm going to be recommending you more Sapphic romances. Let me know down in the comments if you have any Sapphic romance recommendations, but here is my list and let's jump on into it. So first up, I have Witching Moons. This is by Poppy Woods. This is a novella. This is a paranormal romance centering around 2 girls. Our heroine is a witch and she's not very good at being a witch. She doesn't really do a good job. She tends to not have a lot of magic. She's not very gifted in that department, and her sister is very gifted and she's a very gifted witch, and her family leaves her to do the winter the spell for the winter harvest. I cannot remember what it's called. Yule, I think it's the Yule ritual, and she ends up summoning the moon, literally the moon, the celestial being of the moon, and she ends up transforming Luna into her world, and she doesn't know how to send her back, and it is a romance between the 2 of them. It is absolutely adorable. We do have some issues with other people who are not kind to the celestial beings, and they are very much out to get her and like just hurt her in any way they can, and it is very precious. I adored this. This was a very short book. I think I listened to the audiobook and it was like 5 hours. It was so short, but it was so cute. The characters in here just work so well together, and I just think they are absolutely precious. Luna was such a sweet bean. I will say, if you're going to listen to the audiobook, the narrator for Luna, she's not great. So but if you do want to listen to it, I still recommend you pick it up. I think it is such a fun read. It's so short and it's just so sweet. Like, there's steam in here. Don't think that there's not any like steamy scenes in here because I'm saying it's sweet, but like, it is such a sweet story. There is not a lot of dark elements other than the, you know, big bad that's trying to hurt our celestial being Luna, but I just absolutely adore the story and I can't recommend it enough. So thank you, Steph, for recommending me this. So then we have Anyone But Her by Erica Lee, which, if you've been around my channel for any length of time, you all know that I absolutely adored Anyone But Her when I read it in 2020. It was just the most adorable, precious thing, and it filled my heart with so much joy, and it like put a piece of me back together that I didn't realize I was missing, because this story was just absolutely perfect. So in this one, we are following our heroine Reagan, who is living with her best friend, and her best friend, he's gay. His family doesn't know that he's gay, and she's out and proud. Like, she is out. She is a lesbian. She has been a lesbian and been out about it for years, since she was in high school, and he asked her to do him a favor of coming home with him to his family reunion and pretending to be his fiance, because his parents don't know that he is gay and he doesn't want to come out. So essentially he brings her home and she ends up seeing his sister Charlie, and she is his twin sister, and she has thought this entire time that his twin was actually a dude, and Reagan falls for him. She falls for Charlie, and it is just the most precious thing. We do have an issue in here where I felt like our brother in here just did not react properly, because he's also in the closet, so he doesn't believe that his sister's also in the closet, so he believes that Reagan is making his straight sister be gay and she's just going after straight girls, which I didn't love that, because I think that if you are also a queer person, you shouldn't question your queer sibling who hasn't came out to you when you haven't even came out to them. Like, you know how hard coming out is in general, so why are you thinking that she's faking it? Obviously, if she's having a relationship with a woman, she is a queer woman and she is attracted to women, so I don't understand why you feel like you need to like have a say in it. But other than that, I love this story. I loved watching Reagan and Charlie fight their attraction to one another because it is so instant. They have to share like a bedroom and they just have the cutest, sweetest relationship, and I loved watching them fall in love. It was absolutely so cute. The steam in this was pretty good when I read it. I loved watching them and getting to see their relationship blossom and bloom and just be everything that it needed to be. And I loved getting to see Charlie fall in love with Reagan and have the conversation of, you know, I've never been in a relationship with someone where I felt like it was time for me to come out, but she feels that way with Reagan, and I just thought that was really cute and really sweet, and I just loved them. I really recommend you read this. I cannot wait to read the rest of the backlist that Erica Lee has. So could I have done this without recommending a dark romance? No, I couldn't have. Let's talk about Vibe by Liza James. This one follows Ruby and Aurora, and Aurora was a part of this cult and she gets out, and in the beginning of this story we are following Aurora and her boyfriend and her best friend going to a strip club. At the strip club she runs into, you guessed it, Ruby, and they have an immediate instant connection and they just have this like pull to one another. Ruby ends up going home with Aurora and her boyfriend and her best friend, and they don't intend to have anything happen. She's just going home with them like to be safe because there's someone after her, and lo and behold, she makes a move on Aurora. So Aurora and Ruby end up having an encounter of sorts on the living room floor, and this is their romance, and it is so good. So this is really taboo, so there's like cults in here. So she was a part of a cult, and then we have issues with like the cults following them and like all those things happening. This obviously has a lot of religious trauma. This has a lot of homophobia, internalized homophobia. There is knife play in here. There is just so much stuff. She literally fucks her with the hilt of a knife, if you're into that. There's murder. There is just so many dark elements in here. There's some consensual non-consent, some dubious consent. It's so good. It is so good. I loved how dark it was. I loved how dark it got with everything. I loved that everything just kept building on each other, and I cannot wait to read the next book in this series because dark female romances, they're my jam. They're my jam. So now I want to talk about Cinders. This is by Cara Malone, and this is actually book number 3 in a series, but you can read them. It's not going to matter. I'm going to actually be going back and reading the rest of the series, but this one is so freaking adorable. This is a Cinderella retelling, and we have the stepmother and the step siblings who are kind of out to get our heroine. Our heroine's name is Sin, and her actual name is Cynthia, but she goes by Sin, and she has had this like childhood lifelong crush on this girl, and this girl's name is Marigold, and she goes by Mary, and Sin is just a precious bean. She's a firefighter. And this book just filled me with so much happiness, so much giddiness, so much just like excitement for a relationship. It was just precious. So essentially there is a person going around starting a bunch of fires. And so there's an arsonist who's, you know, burning down random things in this town, and the fire department is trying to figure out why this arsonist is just all of a sudden popping up and destroying the town. So eventually we end up having the arsonist set something of Marigold's on fire, and she comes to save the day, and Marigold's like, oh my god, thank you. And they have an encounter where they address the situation of how Marigold thought that Sin hated her, but really in reality Sin was told by her brother that she didn't want anything to do with her. So it's them working it out and figuring out what's going on and developing a relationship with one another, and it is just adorable. So sweet, so precious. I absolutely freaking loved it. It was just the perfect thing for me to read. Like, it truly busted my slump, and I've been trying to find something to bust this slump for a hot minute, and this just did it. They did fall in love pretty quickly, but I didn't even mind it. Like, it was just so cute. So lastly, I want to talk about a manga really quickly, and that is How Do We Relationship. This is volume 1, obviously, and this is just a sweet, precious Yuri manga following these two precious girls who are learning how to have a relationship with one another. So we have our heroine who has never had a relationship with a girl before, and then we've had our other heroine who is just very interested in her and is ready to come on to her and have a relationship with her. It is so cute. It is literally just them figuring out how to have a relationship with another woman and seeing what their boundaries are and just falling in love and experiencing a sapphic relationship. And it is just adorable. This does have 4 volumes out currently in English. I have read the first 2. I just love this series already, and I cannot wait to see where it goes. They're just such sweet beans, and I love them so much. So those are all of my female and sapphic book recommendations. I absolutely love sapphic romances, and I'm so happy that I'm finally able to do a recommendation video for you all based around sapphic romances. So if you have any sapphics you want me to read, leave them down in the comments. I will definitely get to them sooner rather than later. And if you are still here, leave me a pride emoji down in the comments, because hello, sapphic romances, or leave me the 2-girl emoji or whatever you want to do down there, something like that. And yeah, I'll chat with y'all in my next video. Bye everyone. Don't you wanna have fun, fool around someone?